All right, folks. Hey, good morning. Welcome on back here this Friday, November 7th. Great to have all of us here inside our live trading room. Michael, Leda, Rich, got Grant, Nabil, got Margaret, Farzad, all of us just here joining us. I see Andrea there too. We'll get to him in just a bit. All of us back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Just popping up here on the lower left at Cyber Trading U. Just make sure to follow and subscribe right to our channel right down there if you are not already done so. Now, a couple of things just to begin, housekeeping just to start. As always, let me get that out the way there. So a couple of things. We got Fausto out today. He's actually taking some wonderful vacation time. He actually told me at the Money Show back when we met in Orlando a couple of weeks ago. He's like, yeah, I got this big family event. It's like the first time it's like 50 or even like 100 of his like closest relatives, family members, just kind of all meeting together there. I think he said it was the first time of such that he's doing that. So well-deserved, well-earned, right? Well, you got me here for this morning. Not only that, you got me here, I think, for Monday, Tuesday of next week. But with that, though, we have a lot to discuss. This MTVA trade actually made a pretty good move just before, but not good enough. I ended up taking smaller profit on this trade, and thankfully so, this thing dumped right back down afterwards. So, we'll cover this in just a bit. You might be wondering if you see me on webcam right now, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Let me get myself popping up inside our live trading room. There we are. Grant, Margaret, Lawrence, Genevieve. There you go. Genevieve says, good morning, CTU. Josh, I'm finally beginning to appreciate your sense of and acknowledge of levels. So your Black Monday warning, I'm taking very seriously. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. That's actually for everyone to kind of say, you know what? Let's block out the noise. So we'll actually get to that in just a bit. I appreciate you saying that, though, Genevieve. We're going to definitely get to the S&P, the SPY, the market all together in just one moment. Right away, if you see me on webcam right now, you might say, like, well, why do you have a hat on? Well, bedhead, first off. I ended up going for a nice run earlier this morning, kind of sweaty here a little bit, so got my hat on right now. This isn't just any hat, though. It's Forno Friday, so we got Andrea's bakery up in Canada. Forno Cultura, he's always been sending me merch and all the good stuff, all the good biscotti, so I want to rep him out here for all of us here. Check him out, Forno Cultura, just up on Instagram. That's his main social media. But, they're all over the place in Canada. Andrea's bakery, one of her longtime students. Look at all this stuff. We got some funny stuff there for Halloween there. But got some matcha, some coffee. Making me try and log in. I figured that was going to happen. Well, either way, folks, just wanted to kind of go over that. I got the funny hat on, at least Andrea's bakery hat there. Now, let's jump right into some of the trades from even yesterday. We'll get back to this MTVA in just a moment, but we'll talk about a couple of the moves that we did have. The market was all right yesterday. It actually was pretty decent. Dropped off at first. We had a couple of good short trades to work with. We had a couple of good inverse trades to work with. Actually, with that in mind, keep in mind, folks, it's not just the shorts. It's the ones that go inverse to it now. So MSTZ, SMCZ, TSLZ, I think that's the inverse for Tesla. But we had a good drop early on this morning or yesterday morning. Then from there, we bounced back up. We had a pretty decent move back up where a lot of trades, even if they're holding up pretty strong comparative to the market, they actually benefited more off that bounce taking you into the early to mid-afternoon. A couple stocks breaking higher at that time. So overall, it was a great day. Let's go over a couple of the trades at least that we caught. So the FSLY, this thing was just on its own, planet, on its own accord. It had news of its own. Let me see. Do I have the others? I got to get the other day up there. Just one moment. Yeah, so you could see at least from Wednesday afternoon, this ended up making a big pop in the post market from $88 all the way up, just even in early morning once the market opened up, popped up as high as 1050 plus. So it had good range early on. Then from there, actually built back up, taking into the early to mid afternoon. So the FSLY was pretty good yesterday. This morning, volume dropped off. Kind of reminds me of a stock from earlier this week, just from Wednesday itself there too. The Tiva trade, this stock normally doesn't have good volume in pre-market, normally doesn't do much in pre-market, needs to prove itself to you. So the same is to be said with the FSLY, right? The FSLY made a great move yesterday, but what's it doing this morning? Very spotty graph, right? I don't care if it's up or down, whatever, but just, a very spotty graph. So it shows points of inactivity, points where there's no volume being traded really as much. And if there is volume, it's just minimal because there's no difference in the high and the low. But yeah, for right now, we'll kind of keep this back on our side list for the time being. Now the Rivian trade, this at least has a little more, volume, a couple more full candles here at least. But even this, it ended up making a good move yesterday, but this was more from Wednesday's move as well, pushed up beautifully off of earnings of its own. And then yesterday, it did make a good move more on the upside here. Coming off good news, I'm typically against just like going counter trend. So, in theory, did it break a lower low? Yeah, that could have been a tradable short because of the fact that it broke a lower low. Has a good order book. You could have done that there. Not my cup of tea. I ended up catching this more on the upside going into the mid afternoon. Actually, I don't have my book map up for it. Try and take a few seconds and pull it up if I can. The point being, there was a pretty good sell order out there yesterday. Or actually, no, pardon me, it was a buy order. And they pulled it actually throughout the mid morning right here at like 1469. Well, it eventually broke back above that price, held back above it loosely here, shook around it a bit, but higher low built, pushed up beautifully from that area. Let's see if I could try and show it to you here on level 4. Yep, there we go. See, I don't make this stuff up. So 1469 right there, 95,000 shares. Don't ask how I remember this stuff because there's a lot that I don't remember. But, this one, I mean, you got to remember the entries that you take and why you take them. So I remember that there was a pretty damn big order out there earlier. And you know what? It actually got filled. It got hit here, actually. It didn't get pulled. So that's the part that I messed up on there to you. But either way, that's where I jumped in heading into the early to mid afternoon. So beautiful push up. Got out like around like 15 and change, but it pushed up even much higher from there. But yeah, going into the morning today, we'll kind of come back to this trade if we need to. It's on our side list for sure. This stock has good orders on the book, like especially after 9:30 once the market opens up. So keep it on your side list for sure, like the others. Probably this one more than everything else. Grant saying opens moving. We'll get to that in a bit. I thought that they were getting kind of crapped on social media recently. So we'll take a look on open in just a moment. Amy also from yesterday had a good pop, more going into the 1-2 o'clock time here mid-afternoon. So broke out. I kind of like the FSLY, believe it or not, where it ended up holding higher low and then pushed back up later on. The Amy trade pretty much did the same thing, even cleaner of a higher low, but it ended up retracing a bit, built the support, made the afternoon run for us there into the close, into the after hours a bit. Obviously down a little bit more from there, though, this morning. So, yeah, obviously a stock that we're not going to like commit to right away. Now, this is where we'll get to the inverse trades, though, because we got MSTR getting crushed. Bitcoin's dropping below 100,000 again. So, with that MSTR, you got MSTZ. This thing's flying. It's been flying. So this goes right back on our watch list here for the open. Absolutely. How could we not? Get a clean slate of text I could type on here. So MSTZ, and then also there, the MSTR. MicroStrategy, if you want to go for a short on that, obviously it's pretty expensive. But if you want to try it on smaller size and just short the equity, or if you want to buy puts on it, if that's the not only the cheaper option, but if there's going to be even better liquidity on the option chain for certain contracts on MSTR, then go for that. Yeah, so MSTR, absolutely. The MSTZ. What else we got? PLTZ, right? PLTR was getting crushed early on this week from their earnings. So they broke lower later early on yesterday, right below 183, 182, down about 10 points now from that point even. So, yeah, I could put PLTR back on our watch list. How can we not? As a short? And you got the inverse here, PLTZ. So PLTZ, PLTR. Probably see me do this a little bit here throughout the morning. Now, we will get to kind of what I had mentioned with the SPY in just a moment. We also had what else we had? Oh, that's right. Oh, this one we crushed going into the afternoon. Actually, I wish I crushed it even more. Dropped off actually a lot more after I got out. But the Penn trade, Penn National Gaming, they killed their deal with ESPN Bet. If you know, it's one of the worst deals like of late over the last like 10, 15 years in terms of just business. Penn National Gaming, ESPN's going down the toilet themselves, but Penn, they've made a couple of bad decisions over their time. Even when they thought they made a good decision and they bought Barstool, they actually had to sell it back to Dave Portnoy for $1, right? That's the whole story behind that. Now they ended up killing their deal with ESPN Bet. You'd figure with Disney and ESPN that would be at least a fairly successful partnership from the outside looking in, at least. If you look on the inside, then you probably would have seen this coming. But, apparently they killed this deal about 2 years into an 8-year, or if it's not into an 8-year project, they have 8 years remaining. That's crazy. That's bad. So they spiked it pretty quickly. Now with that, it actually popped up at first, but just follow the trend after, right? Like, it's not like I bought this right away at 9:30 in the morning, but after the first 5 minutes, it sinks. It actually breaks below the low from yesterday, even. That's bad news. That only spells a short. So I ended up getting into this trade 2 times. I took a loss on the first entry. Then I jumped back in later on, heading into the mid afternoon, right off the same price, the 1562. And from there, it was pretty much perfect. So I got out at 15, a little underneath 15 as it was kind of perking around it here a bit. And then it actually broke lower. I'm like, shit, should have held on to that one there. But otherwise, it was a great trade, 60, 62 cents at least there, even for my trade. But going into the open, these casino stocks in general, not even Penn, we're talking Caesars. We've been on top of this. Look at all these lines. That's how I can tell you we've been on top of this. Got to delete them. I don't know what the hell any of those even mean now at this point. But, Caesars has been dropping off quite a bit. DraftKings has been getting crushed. It's back towards that historical area, pretty much around 28, a little over even. And it's actually breaking below it. But what else? SRAD. That's another casino stock taking a huge hit. Sports betting stock, I should say. For the open, just keep them on your radar. No pun intended. Radar, sports radar. But at least for right now, the Penn trade might end up being like a TiVo, where it doesn't trade a lot of volume going into the morning today. So it's pretty spotty graph, right? Like the FSLY is. And that's pretty much all that we had from yesterday. Listen, it was a great day yesterday. You got to learn how to short. If you don't know how to short yet, go through our phase 1 stock course. I teach that point blank in one of our classes. Take a full 60-minute class to go over, shorting, how to do it, why it even happens, with your brokerage, getting the shares, borrowing them. But otherwise, though, we discuss it even further in phase 2. I have like specific oriented classes for shorting, but with using Bookmap, with using level 4. So even better there. All right, so now we got a couple things going on here, right? Let me just run this scanner one more time right now. We'll get into the MTVA. We'll also get into the SPY pretty much at the end of this meeting. But let's just build up our watch list right now. MSGM, higher lows, pushed up beautifully last night. I figure it might be up too much, right? Well, we've seen stocks up even more than that, even just this week. So definitely not out of the realm of possibility here to see it pop even more, try and get that next leg up towards the after hours highs again. Back up towards here, like 570. But if it breaks below this support, then it's pretty much done for, right? If it breaks below this, it's pretty much game over. So I'll put it on our list for now, but just know your levels, know your trend, know your levels. Wait the first 5 minutes. Stay in school, eat your vegetables, all that good stuff. All right. HLLY, this had some weird pop at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's gone utterly nowhere since. If it wants to go somewhere, we'll call it out. MTVA, same deal with this now at this point. This stock could pop, and we'll get to the daily chart in just a bit. I was talking about targets and levels. I was looking for 140, 150 on my trade earlier. I ended up jumping in on this on a couple of different shares or positions. So I bought it first right at $1 or 101, and then when it spiked down, I averaged down a bit. So I bought more at 96 cents. Then from there, I ended up getting out on half the size or half the position, right around like 111, and then the other half was even right there too, right? Yeah, 110, 111. All right, so what happened on this trade was we ended up seeing a pretty good move up at first. Thankfully, it held higher low to get me to kind of average into it and push up more. Looks like an order on the bid showed up here at 91 cents. Now, we did have resistance right around 150. This is the big level, even 140, where there was something there to kind of complement it on the way down. So I thought that if the stars were to align event, that this could have made a better move up towards that 140 to 150. But that's just where, hey, if it's not going to look to try and do that, and if it looks to break into this, where it first peaked initially, then that's bad news. And it was already doing that a couple of times here. So on the way down, I got out on the last leg, and then it tanked. So game over now. It was a nice trade for a Friday morning. We'll take it, especially considering market conditions entirely. So, yeah. ORGO, right now this thing's done. Not really much going on with that thing. It's kind of trash. CGC. Did CGC come out with news this morning? I'll break up Benzinga Pro. I'm one-armed right now. I got my glass of water here. Give me a second. So CGC, better than expected Q2 EPS results. That's what happened there. Looks like sales missed, but the earnings beat. There's probably a lot more to it than just that, but that's why it's moving. So, you know what? We're familiar with this stock. We like this stock whenever, makes a good pop for us once the market opens. So wait on it a little bit, wait to see what happens. This isn't some like news with pot. It's not some news with federal regulation, Trump making some announcement. That's not the case here. This is just regular standard earnings. We'll put it on our list. We'll be careful of it though right away. If it just drops, then we'll move on to other things. Wendy's. Wendy, you're moving this morning. No, but WEN, this ended up making a pretty good pop. When was it? I thought it was even, it had to have been back late October on the 21st. Just a nice little move at the time, and we thought that there was a chance for a potential short squeeze, but never ended up making the continued bar the next day or the day after or the day after that. So just continue to drop. And then, for right now, though, it's kind of back above that area, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it's definitely way above that right now. What's the news on Wendy's? I'm going to assume this is earnings related too, right? What's with the buyout? Yeah, just earnings. Okay, so earnings at least for the time being. Double beat sounds good. Guidance looks like they were kind of in line, if you want to call it that. So, more based on the historical chart, I feel like there could potentially be a move. Wendy's, obviously, everyone knows the name Wendy's, so it's not a bad thing to call a stock a meme stock. Most well-known companies could become a meme stock if the stock price goes up pretty nicely, right? Not every stock goes up off of news. So anytime you see any company come out with like some news of this or that, it doesn't always reflect in the stock price here. So it's up 9%. That's good enough. You're probably going to see it already get talked about on social media, on Reddit, on Wall Street Bets. So just keep this in mind. I'll put this on our list for now. All right, more inverse. We got RGTZ, which goes inverse to Rigetti. We got QBTZ, which goes inverse to QBTS. I'm not going to put every singular inverse ticker on our watch list, guys. We already got a couple good ones already on the MSTR, MSTZ, PLTR, PLTZ. UVIX I'll probably make room for because this is like inverse, but it's inverse. Yes, it's inverse because it goes kind of opposite to what the S&P does, what the NASDAQ does. It's based on the VIX. It's the Fear Volatility Index. So that's what its real metric is based off of. But for right now, it's going on up, and that I will kind of put on our list. UVIX. Firm actually popped off earnings last night. Already pulled back, so it's probably going to continue. But let's hop over to the losers list right now, folks. Yeah, Open's down, right? Yeah, Open got crushed last night. So I'll go back to the news feed one more time. Breaking out my moniker here, Newsman Levitan here. What do we got? Mixed Q3 financial results, but files for an offering of 180 million shares common stock. So I think that's the larger talking point as to why the stock is down so much. Now, this is a meme stock. You'll probably have some people that are going to sell off right away at the market open. Just people that are sucked into this trade from $7, $8, $9, $10 a share. But yeah, absolutely right now, we'll put this on our watch list just for the time being. Just focus on a lower high, lower low eventually. ACHR got crushed last night. I don't know what went on with their earnings, but I'll add them to our watch list for right now. I'm going to try and quicken this up, folks. We got about like a few minutes left before the market opens anyway. So just want to make sure our students and myself have enough time to prepare and get ready for that. But yeah, NVTS is down a lot here this morning. There's our Rigetti. I'll add the Rigetti and the inverse to that if you want me to. Rigetti's at least down a little bit there more, and got the inverse also. All right, all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., popping up lower left at CyberTradingU. If you're new to our channel, feed, platform, just make sure to hit the follow, subscribe button. I got to align my webcam a little bit better. How about that? Align my seat better. How about that there? But otherwise, down below at CyberTradingU, just hit that follow or subscribe button at least. Where's Andrea? I've been waiting for Andrea all morning so you can see my hat here. Yeah, there you are. There you are, Andrea. Buongiorno. Got your hat on right now. I got the OG hat on. Actually, I had the other hat on too, the red hat. Now, I was going to go over this also, so we'll get into the market at least entirely before we finish up. But yeah, SPY is dropping a lot, right? We figured that as much. And from yesterday, we knew that there was a gap to fill on the downside. This gap right here, right? Got filled at least by the mid-afternoon. Now it ended up breaking lower. Now, why does this come into effect here with my hat? Andrea Forno Cultura, check him out. But I actually got a couple of these hats. I got a red and a green, right? I didn't want to be so pessimistic of the stock market. So I was actually wearing the red, and I thought like 2 minutes before I went on here live, I was like, damn, I got the green one, don't I? Let me actually get some like good juju out here and try and like have some good energy into the market here today. And hopefully a nice green day here, folks. But yeah, otherwise, what do we got here, folks? James saying major crashes historically happen on Monday. Yeah, that'll take me to my comment. That takes me right away. So I wrote away this morning here, folks. I logged inside the trading room early. And by 8:30, my first comment, really, I kind of make a few, finer talking points at 8:30, a little bit afterwards. So always check that out. But I'll try and get this up for all of us here on social. Give me a moment here. Pretty much just going over exactly what Jim said. I said this around 8:30 myself, basically that typically you're going to see some people fear mongering online going into Monday, coming off the weekend. I'm kind of predicting that. I'm not even watching TV to look for it right now. I don't even care for it. I just figure it's going to happen anyway. But if you watch financial TV today or over the weekend or are online, I'm very certain that they'll discuss a Black Monday type of crash with how this market looks as of this morning. Don't get too caught up in the headlines. Don't get caught up in the noise. Don't start selling all your positions immediately. Jim Cramer just before was saying how, we're in a bear market and, hey, maybe this is the beginning of a nice bounce coming up, right? The inverse. But otherwise, at least, don't get too emotional behind it. Focus on where your levels are. At least for here, that's why I was anticipating a gap fill. Now, if this isn't going to bounce back up today, if we don't get a strong reversal back up today over this, then we got to figure where's our next big support line. I had this actually lined up earlier. Where was I? I think I was looking. I got to go on the weekly graph here for this. Yeah, I think it was right around here. And then even this wick to see. We're going to start off right around 661, the low on this wick here from the weekly chart. I think we're kind of around there now, probably a little above it. So wait to see this morning to see if we get more downside and test 661. If we get a pop right away, though, I'd be pretty happy with that. And hopefully we can see it sling back over here and hold over here and then just begin the reversal. But either way, it's all about knowing your levels. But otherwise, join us inside our live trading room, folks. Be a student like Jim, Kathleen, Leda, Grant, Andrea, Michael, Jazz, Margaret, all of us just joining us right now. And, otherwise, we look forward to seeing you there. But we're going to wrap up, at least for the time being. We got about 5-6 minutes until the market opens. I got to make sure that we're all good here, folks. So give me a couple minutes. We'll post the watch list out to all of us in just a moment. And we'll be good to go from there. So looking forward to this morning either way. Remember, reversal time 10:30. So there could be some good bounces if we get some early sell-off going into the opening minutes. And we'll at least go from there. We'll talk about it more inside our live trading room. All right, folks. Hey, enjoy the weekend. Otherwise, you got me going into the next week. And then, we'll talk soon. Take care.